Hey, it's Catherine McLeod back again. Now, it's number two, divine self. Now, you are the center, the epicenter of your life. You are the portal for your magic. You are the one that life is expressed through. You get to experience, express, and evolve, and it all comes through you. You are the common denominator in every experience that you have. And through your perception is what is manifest. So, the things that I really want to share with you through the divine self is you probably see in many courses they talk about identity and this and that. And yes, that is the most important thing because you need to see that you're the type of person that can do the thing that can manifest those dreams. You're the type of person that can follow through. You're the type of person that can commit, can devote yourself to your dreams. And one thing that I would really love to share with you that I feel like if you learn anything from this three-step divine manifesting pathway is that one thing that shifted my entire reality is that I realized I was a driven woman, but I was not driving the vehicle, the car. There was someone else in the front seat, and that was divine. And I was just going, okay. And that's what the surrender and the letting go is all about. It's about the divine, which is the infinite intelligence which lives inside of us, knows what's best for us, knows what's healthy for us, knows what is, for the highest good of us, because it uses our emotions to be able to guide us and to navigate us through our lives. And that's why emotions are so important because they carry so much wisdom. And another thing that I wanted to share with you, so that is really important that you are driven, you are guided, you are not pushing, you are not forcing. This life is not really all about you. And the more and more you feel like you're not enough, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're feeling sad, you're feeling bad, you're feeling self-pity, it's because, or you're feeling scared to go and do things, it's because you're worried about what people think of you. You're worried about the judgment, and because you have so much self-judgment. And the thing is, once you reach a certain point, it can be a low point or it can be just a transition in life. For me, it was 50. I did most of my life before 50, which was for me, achieving, investing in um, so I had a lot of wealth to create the freedom that I wanted to do. But I also did it because of my own ego. And yes, we do that because if you're feeling either, oh, I'm better than or less than, that is both the ego because the divine self is divinely centered and realizes that we are all here together to help one another and to grow together, build together, and do things together for the highest good of all. So, yeah, because I was such a people pleaser and I did so many degrees, I really tried to feel like I was good enough. So I would just do a million degrees and everything to get the external validation so I could feel like I was worthy. But I realized you have to give it to yourself. You have to approve of yourself and like yourself so that no longer becomes an issue. So now, as I stand before you delivering this course, I realize it's not about me. It's not about me. And the only way it can hurt you, things can hurt you, is if you make them personal about you. Like we are just vessels here in this costume, whatever you came as. And this was the right person at the right time. You are who you are supposed to be with the gifts that you've been given and the family that you were part of. And all of the things that you've learned along the way are gifts. And when you really don't like them and you're pushing against them, and, I did this for years, I was like, oh, I don't like these different parts of me. But I realize once you accept them and go, well, actually, this face and body isn't only for me, it's a vessel to be able to go out there and make other lives better as well as my own. So it's not all about you. And when you realize that you can do things that are bold and courageous because you've taken your self-consciousness out of it, you feel like you're here to give more and do more and be more because you've transcended that need to impress or improve or you all of those things. There's no overcompensating anymore because you are just you, and warts and all, you've just owned all of it. And I have, because there's always things we're working on. But to get back to the centered part of the divine self, so it is about your identity. Do you see yourself as someone that can do it, that is committed and devoted to your dreams or other people's agendas? Because this is where I see a lot of women really struggle and suffer because they feel like life is unfair, and they start to blame their family, blame their siblings, blame people outside of them, blame everyone for their situation. And they don't realize that the power is within. I know we read it all the time and it sounds cheesy and ridiculous, but when you start going, you know how people say, get over yourself? Well, it means, and now I know the literalness of it, it just means when you are pulled to a vision, a compelling future, which is full of love and joy and making others' lives better, then you will do the scary things. You will do the things because you realize that when it's not about you anymore, you have the most thrilling life. You've left that insecurity, that unworthiness behind because it's not true. You realize all those stories are just what you make of them, because whatever stories you're telling yourself is that divine self. Because I often say they're depleted self or the divine self. So the depleted self gives themselves up to others when they don't feel aligned to that thing. When they listen to other people's opinions, when they haven't even done the thing themselves, they might have relatives, friends that are unhealthy, don't have any financial wealth, or their relationships are really crappy, and they're trying to give you advice, and that's out of alignment. And then you feel bad for the stuff they're telling you, but they are in no position. And so, another thing that I would love wisdom to share is that I am so grateful for the people that I've learned from, that I have studied with, the mentors, the amazing communities. It's not just one person, it's the communities I've been part of that teach me things that I never could learn myself. I've never been surrounded by, like, my family was not healthy at all. We just ate meat and three veg, a lot of junk food, and no exercise whatsoever, maybe sport. And also with the wealth, my dad died leaving nothing. And, my parents have never been very good, never owned a house. So, I didn't have role models to learn from. I had to go outside and find mentors and find people doing what I wanted to do so I could replicate it and learn it and really embody those teachings. And with relationships, I used to let people just walk all over me and treat me badly. I know as a teacher, I was always wondered why people treat or teach children taught me they treated me with such disrespect because I disrespected myself. I wasn't looking after myself, and people can sense it. They can sense truth and authenticity. They can see, are you walking your talk, or are you just all full of talk and you're not even living it at all? And I must say, and I will be completely honest, not always am I. And this is part of the journey of being a human is, sometimes I procrastinate. Sometimes I'll have a glass of wine and some chocolate. Sometimes we do want those quick fixes just to feel good in that moment. And so this is another pearl of wisdom that I love to teach is about the void. Now, the void is that part when you're feeling a terrible emotion and you're like, I just want to do something to get out of it, away from it. I want to cover it up. I want it to go away. And so, and I know what I did, like when I was working in my last job. You know, it was rewarding, the kind of things that I could do. And I was really happy about that. That lit me up. And that's what kept me for so long, 21 years working in education. But when I'd had a hard day, I'm like, oh, that was stressful. That was hard. And so I'd drink some wine, eat some chocolate, make a platter of cheese because I just didn't like that feeling. Because really, I was here for something else and I was stuck. I was stuck in that same routine. It was safe, it was predictable. It was just what I all I knew. But I knew that I was meant for more and that I was here to do some big work in the world, but I didn't know what that was. So I just would drink because I didn't know what that feeling was. It felt uncomfortable and it felt really scary. And so I kept dampening down my feelings for years. I was like, I don't like those feelings, so I don't want to feel. And now I realize the magic I want to share with you is that every time you feel those feelings, that trigger, that uncomfort, that that yucky feeling, that's the invitation to stop and tune in and go, wow, what does this mean? And maybe you are living a misaligned life, which I was. And as soon as you start making the steps, now I'll tell you what alignment is. It's when your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions are all in alignment. You're thinking and feeling and doing all the same things. They're not conflicted. They're not like, oh, they're not different. Like I'm thinking of being a millionaire, but in the same way, I'm not doing anything towards that. I'm feeling really bad and I'm using ways to avoid my feelings so I can't step into the next step. And so once you actually, this is what the bravery and the courage is, because from that epicenter of the heart, when you are open, you're open to anything. And it means that you can transcend those feelings by getting the wisdom from those. And there's so many people on the planet now that are waking up to that and that can help you through that. That's not something I was able to do on my own. I didn't even know it was possible. I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't even know that I could change my beliefs and I could actually alchemize and ground my emotions so I could step forward because I used to I was very jumpy. I would always be so scared of anyone walking in the room or anything. Like if I did anything that was just a bit too beyond my comfort zone, I was like, no. And I think that's why I use lots of methods to fill the void so I wouldn't have to actually deal with what I'm here to do, which is to be very honest and open and help as many women as I can get through that struggle and that hard time. And I think having that adversity, and maybe you too have done the same. You've had adversities and really bad things that happened in the past, and you don't want to remember them and you don't want to feel them again. But you realize that's where your magic is, that's where your gifts are. That's where the next step is to your amazing, radiant health, your aligned wealth, and your beautiful, loving relationships. Because once you start to get really centered and grounded in who you are, then you can command the things and you can ask for them without going, no, I can't do that. And that's what used to be me. It's like, oh, no, I can't ask for that. Well, who do I think I am? But I want you as your divine self, not the depleted self that gives himself up for others and has resentment when they don't ask for what they want. That's what happens to these people pleasing types. I was one of them. Is when you speak up, when you step up, when you choose to be the divine self, which is the most loving self, caring self, honest self, most compassionate self, the the least judgmental self. It's the self that really cares about yourself, others, and the world. So it's really a holistic self, and it is a self that owns their mistakes and owns their um, anything they've ever done. Because I know as soon as I saw all the things I was doing, I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, I can see why I was exactly where I was back then. And while I was having so much mental turmoil, because I was just constantly in a pattern of self-deprecation, of putting myself down and blaming myself for not being good enough, when really I didn't know any better. because that's all I saw. And so I want you to just have a look at being the divine self by noticing when you're having a void, which is like a trigger, which is a feeling and sensation in your body that reminds you of a past event, past experience, a past thing where you felt very uncomfortable. That's an invitation for you to get the wisdom and to up level into that version of you that has more stability, more calm, more ability to hold beautiful relationships, more wealth, and has a capacity for change. Because I know that working with all the women that I've worked with, that change is really difficult because it puts your nervous system into some crazy modes. It's like, and even good things. I've got so much really I want to teach you about divine self. But one thing I did find is when my life was going too well, I would bring it down a notch. And sometimes I would do that with alcohol too, because I'm like, I've had the best day ever. And then I'd have that to kind of keep me a little bit grounded because I thought, wow, it's too good to be true. And in my family, we weren't a very happy family. There was a lot of arguing and so I always felt like I couldn't do so much better than my family, or I felt a lot of guilt and shame that I can't do too much better than other people, or it's rude, it's selfish, it's wrong, and it's not because you only get this one chance. Maybe you get 100 years or more if you're feeling in good health. That's, it's really important that you are in good health because you won't enjoy your life if you're not experiencing that too. So that's why I always say health first, because health is wealth and your energy determines what you have the momentum to go forward with. Because if you're not feeling good, then it's going to be really hard to propel you forward and do those things. And that's why I say, because I'm part of the gorgeous Backyard Peace Project, and that is a beautiful community. It is one of heart-centered women coming together to want the best for you. And I really hope you got a lot out of this, of being your divine self. And just if you're more conscious of the divine self, which is one that really cares for you, it's like your inner best friend. And I love you and I want to see you living as your divine self and manifesting your dreams because you are aligned with them. Love you, and I'll see you in the next one, which is number 3, divine reality.